In the unlikely event that you have leftover brisket, or even something like chuck roast, or any meat will do, this is the recipe that you can follow to give a great presentation for those leftovers. Because today we're going to take some leftover brisket, some creamy mashed potatoes, and we're going to make a brisket sundae. So yes, I'm using brisket today, some leftover brisket. You could just as easily use chuck roast, London broil, any sort of meat you have left over. I prefer to use beef. I guess you could use chicken or pork if you wanted to, as long as it pairs with mashed potatoes. And really, you don't even have to use this as a leftover dish. If you just want a different way to serve brisket or chuck roast or something like that, this is an easy way to do it and to really impress the people you're cooking for. Because it looks great and it tastes amazing. A few different steps we have to go through here to get everything ready, and we're going to start with some garlic because we're going to be making some fried garlic that's going to mimic that look of toasted nuts that go on top of a sundae. So here I have some peeled garlic cloves, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to slice these. Not super thin, not thick, but I want those sort of rounds that we're going to start with. So somewhere about like that. Not too thin, not too thick. And then once you have those, we're just going to cut those in half. Now I guess you could do the half cut down the garlic clove first, but I think it cuts easier when they're together. But let's try it. Let's go half first. Yeah, that works okay. Let's do another one like that. I'm going to finish this up and then we're going to move over to the stove. So we're starting off actually with cold oil. I'm going to add, I don't know, maybe half a cup of olive oil in my small saucepan. And I'm going to add our garlic pieces right to this cold oil. We're going to turn this on to medium-low heat. We're going to let that oil slowly come up to temp and gradually crisp up our garlic. Key here is you've got to keep stirring once that oil starts to heat up. And as soon as these start to turn golden brown and crisp up a bit, that's when we're going to stop. You don't have to use olive oil. You could use something like avocado oil. You could use a vegetable oil, but I actually really like olive oil for this. The flavor it helps bring to these garlic pieces is wonderful. And if you want to have some garlic flavored olive oil to use in a dish that same day, you can do it. Just monitor your heat so you don't get too hot. Just turn that burner down. I have my burner turned all the way down as low as it will go right now, and you can see we're still generating plenty of heat. It's really dependent on how much heat your burner's put out, so you gotta watch it. You don't want this to be super deep fried really fast. That's another way to do it. You could throw this into hot oil and crisp these up, but I've found that there's more of a chance of it burning that way rather than coming slowly up to temperature. Keep stirring, monitoring your heat. Just barely starting to get some of that golden color, little patches of it, so we've got to keep going. You don't want to go too much further because you don't want to burn them. Keep stirring, getting closer. It helps if you get them to be about the same size. They'll cook at the same rate. I'm not the best at getting all these pieces the same size, but we're close in most of them. All right, I'm going to let these go for a couple more minutes, and then we are going to drain these and get them onto a paper towel. Okay, we're going to pour our garlic into a strainer here. You can see that nice toasty brown color. Now we're going to transfer this to a paper towel. I'm going to spread these out here. And they actually look like little peanut chunks right now. So this drying and cooling process is going to help them become even more crunchy. We're going to let those continue to dry and cool, and we're going to move on to getting our potatoes ready. Okay, I've got my water coming to a boil here, and we are going to get some potatoes in here. These are russet potatoes that I've peeled, cut into about 1-inch pieces. I'm going to be doing 2.5 pounds of potatoes today. All right, we're going to boil these potatoes until they are tender. That's probably going to be anywhere between 8 and 12 minutes. I will just check that. And I'll see you back over at the cutting board when we're ready to turn these into some fantastic mashed potatoes. All right, our russet potatoes are here, still nice and hot, and I just want to start mashing them a little bit before we add the rest of the ingredients. Just want to break them down a bit. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter and a half a cup of half and half. You can use milk, you can use whipping cream, whatever you want like that. I may need to add more after this, but we're going to start with half a cup. I'm just going to get in here and mix with a spoon at first. Want to get that butter melted and breaking up. Switch back to our masher. Now usually I like a little bit more of a rustic mashed potato, but for this I'm going to make them a little bit smoother. Next I'm going to add half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, a teaspoon of a coarsely ground black pepper, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. Let's mix this up. Go back to our masher, just make sure that all of those potato chunks are broken down. I'm going to add just a splash more of half and half, I don't know, a tablespoon or 2. Mix that up. Just a little bit of extra creaminess for this recipe. All right, a little taste here. These are ready. I'm going to cover this and we're going to move on to getting our brisket ready. All right, so I have some leftover brisket from a cook I did the other day, a few pieces of the flat, a couple chunks of the point, and I am just going to break this down into small pieces. So let's start with our point piece here. Call them bite-sized pieces if you want. That's probably close to what I'm going for. Same thing with these flat pieces. And when they get a little too long, just cut that in half. Since these are already cooked, we're basically going to be reheating these with some sauce. All right, I'm going to finish chopping these up and I'll see you over at the stove. All right, I'm going to get my pan here over medium heat. And before I get the brisket in here, I want to take a cherry tomato and get a little bit of a char on it. I've cut it in half. I just want to take a little piece of this brisket point, get some of that fat in here for our tomatoes. Just going to let these go for a minute. Don't want to get them mushy, just want to get a little bit of heat into them, soften them up slightly. All right, that's all I need on those. Let's get our brisket in here. Remember, these are already cooked. We just want to heat them up, soften them up, render a little bit of that fat in there. Get a little bit of color on these pieces. I want to turn my heat down to medium-low. And I'm going to add, I don't know, 2 or 3 tablespoons of barbecue sauce here. This is a Lily's Carolina barbecue sauce. This is going to be the same sauce we're going to use to top this brisket sundae. So 2 or 3 tablespoons. Everybody coated here. Add more if you need to. Again, this is about any barbecue sauce you want, or no sauce, but I think this really calls for sauce, this sort of presentation. Nice color and flavor on this brisket to go along with just the great flavor of the brisket on its own. All right, that's looking good. Let's start building this brisket sundae. All right, I have my nice little sundae dish here that I'm going to fill up with some of this brisket to start. Nice bite-sized pieces here. We're going to be generous. Now let's get some of our mashed potatoes on top. Nice scoop here. Now every sundae needs some good sauce. If it's ice cream, you're going to have caramel chocolate. We're going to use some of that Lily's Carolina barbecue sauce here. Just drizzle across the top. Now some of our nuts. Sprinkle those on top. Finally, every sundae needs a cherry on top. There we go, the brisket sundae. I'm not ready for dessert, but I can tell you what, I'm ready for this, so it's time to taste. I've been looking forward to tasting this for a while, so let's go. Let's get in through these mashed potatoes with that sauce and our nuts on it, garlic. Look, brisket alone is pretty darn good. And this brisket that I made was pretty darn good the other day. But this is just so cool to make it like this, add these other flavors, have a nice little presentation that's kind of fun. People look at this and they wonder what it is at first. Brisket Sundae. Those crispy garlic nuts are perfect on this. Just a bit of crunch, great garlic flavor. You can use those on so many different things. Here, they just mimic the nuts perfectly. We've got to get our cherry here. Let's get this cherry off the top. A little bit more of our brisket and some nuts, a little bit of everything in this one. I've made other things that taste better, but I gotta say, this is probably one of the favorite things that I've made. It is just so fun. It's fun to look at, it's fun to make, it's fun to eat, and I can just imagine at a table, everyone's sitting down to enjoy their own brisket sundae. I would too. So if you're feeling a little adventurous and you've got some brisket or some chuck roast or anything, have a little fun with it. Make some mashed potatoes, fry up some crispy garlic, pick a sauce you like, put a tomato on top. You're gonna have yourself a brisket sundae. This was just so much fun.